Let me ask you something nobody ever asks out loud. What if the most powerful thing you could do right now to change your relationships, your career, your entire social standing isn't something you say, isn't something you do? It's something you stop doing. What if the real move is to simply stop reacting? Because here's the truth. They buried under 1,000 self-help books about communication and vulnerability and opening up. The people who actually run the room, they're not the loudest. They're not the most agreeable. They're the ones who've mastered the art of the strategic ignore. And today, I'm going to hand you that weapon. Not to make you cold, not to make you cruel, but to make you untouchable in a world that profits off your reaction. If that's something you want, subscribe right now, because this channel is where we talk about the stuff that actually changes how people treat you. It's not theory, reality. Let's go. Here's what nobody told you growing up. Your attention is a currency. Every single time you react to an insult, to a provocation, to someone who wants to destabilize you, you are spending that currency. And most people are broke because they spend it on everything. Every drama, every bait, every person who doesn't deserve a single second of their energy. You were never taught to protect it. You were taught to be responsive, to be polite, to engage, and that programming made you predictable. And predictable people get controlled. So let's fix that. The first thing you have to understand is what ignoring actually is, because most people get this completely wrong. Ignoring is not passive. It is not weakness. It is not you being hurt and pretending you're not. Real strategic ignoring is a conscious, deliberate withdrawal of the one thing every human being craves more than almost anything else: acknowledgement. When you truly ignore someone from a place of power, you are not suppressing emotion. You are making a calculated decision that this person, this situation, this bait does not meet the threshold required to enter your world. That distinction is everything. One comes from pain. The other comes from standards. Now, here's the first Machiavellian principle, and it will immediately change how people treat you. Never react to someone at the speed they want you to. When someone sends you a passive-aggressive message, when someone tries to publicly embarrass you, when someone starts an argument, they have already scripted your response in their head. They are waiting for you to play your part. The moment you do, you've handed them control of the narrative. But when you slow down, when you delay, when you respond on your timeline instead of theirs, or don't respond at all, you shatter the script. You become unpredictable, and unpredictable people cannot be managed. Practice this physically. Before you respond to anything emotionally charged, wait. Not because you don't have an answer, because you're choosing when to give it. The second thing is understanding the difference between ignoring a person and ignoring their behavior. This is subtle, but it's where most people make the mistake that costs them. When someone disrespects you in public and you ignore them entirely, you might look weak. But when you engage warmly with everyone around them while treating that specific behavior, that specific comment, like it didn't even register, that is surgical. You're not ignoring the person. You're communicating that their attempt to affect you was so beneath you, it didn't even reach your radar. That is devastating to people who want a reaction, because now the audience around you sees it too, and they draw their own conclusions without you saying a word. The third principle is one Machiavelli understood deeply. He wrote that it is better to be feared than loved, but he also wrote something people forget, that the prince who cannot control what he ignores cannot control his kingdom. What you give your attention to in public tells everyone watching what has power over you. If you flinch at every criticism, people learn exactly where to press. If you laugh off insults, engage with genuinely good ideas, and let pettiness die in the air, you train everyone around you on how to treat you. Your attention is your policy statement. Make it deliberate. Here's the fourth thing, and this one is going to hurt some of you because it cuts close. A lot of the drama in your life right now exists because you keep feeding it. There are people in your circle who bring nothing but chaos, negativity, or emotional noise, and they're still there because you respond, because you explain yourself to them, because you try to fix it. Every time you engage with chaos, you legitimize it. You signal that it is worth your time. The most powerful version of ignoring isn't blocking someone or making a big scene about cutting them off. A kata, gradual withdrawal of energy, fewer responses, shorter answers, less investment. You don't owe anyone an announcement that you're done. You just stop showing up for what doesn't serve you, and slowly the connection dies, not because of a fight, but because you starved it of oxygen. The fifth principle is about ignoring your own impulse to explain yourself. This one is massive. You've made a decision about your life, your direction, your choices, and someone challenges it. The instinct is to justify, to lay out your reasoning, to get them to understand. But here's the cold reality. People who need to control you will never be satisfied by your explanation, so just find the next hole to poke. Every explanation you give is a new point of entry for criticism. The most powerful response to "why are you doing this?" is a calm smile, and because it's the right move for me. Full stop. No elaboration, no defense. You don't build a wall by explaining why you're building it. You just build it. The sixth Machiavellian trick is what I call the vacuum. When you withdraw attention from someone who's used to having it, a manipulator, a narcissist, someone who feeds off your engagement, it creates a psychological vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. They will try to fill it. They'll escalate. They'll reach out. They'll create situations to pull you back in. Okay? If you go back, you just trained them that escalating works. Okay? If you hold the silence, you win. Not because silence is always the answer, but because your consistency becomes the message. You cannot be yanked around. And that is one of the rarest, most respected qualities a person can have. The seventh and final principle is the one that ties all of this together, and it's the hardest one. You have to genuinely stop caring about what most people think of you. Not performatively, not as a thing you say, actually. And the only way to do that, the real way, is to build a life that you are so bought into, so focused on, that other people's opinions become genuinely irrelevant background noise. Because here's the brutal truth. People who are obsessively affected by others' perceptions are usually people who haven't built anything yet that they truly believe in. Secure for caring too much what people think isn't a mindset trick. It's building something real. When you have real purpose, real direction, real momentum, the noise stops mattering because you're too busy going somewhere. So let me bring this home. The power of ignoring isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming selective. It's about understanding that your energy, your attention, your reaction, all of it is finite and valuable. And you've been giving it away to people and situations that never deserved it. Every person who runs the room, every person who commands respect without demanding it, every person who seems untouchable, they all have one thing in common. They've learned what not to engage with. They've built a filter, okay? And that filter is the difference between being someone who gets played and someone who plays the long game. You now have the framework, okay? What you do with it is on you. If this hit different, if something in here made you see your own life differently, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this. Subscribe if you want more content that skips the fluff and goes straight to what actually changes things. I'll see you in the next one. Don't waste your energy on anything that doesn't move you forward.